get to all of them. If I miss one of yours, just raise your hand and tell me. So first question was, did they create rain? So they did. So in the rainforest, for example, there's overhead sprinklers, and so we set up rain events. Right now, they're three times a week: Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And we deliver about, and the rainforest is divided into 4 quadrants, and we deliver about 5,000 liters per quadrant. And we'll change seasonally. We can't do much with the light. You're not going to create thunder and lightning, for example, inside. You're not. I've only ever seen sort of a cloud formation once or twice in the entire time I've been here, and that was just because we had some interesting temperature differentials, and you created, but it didn't, not enough to create precipitation. So we schedule all of that primarily through overhead sprinklers. So you're standing in the rainforest, it's raining. It's hard to detect that it's not an actual rain outside. It's really cool. The ants that you see crawling around, these were accidentally introduced. So their common name is crazy ant, but they're called their genus and species is Paradochinus longicornis. From what I understand, they're common in virtually every greenhouse throughout, because they're transported very easily through these potted plants that one purchased to another. They outcompeted virtually all the other insects that were introduced into the system. Now, some of you who maybe been here recently, when you look over, this is our ocean system. This is about a 1,000,000-gallon tank, or 2.6 million liters, and it's 21 feet deep or 7 meters deep on the far end, proceeds up into a reef and into a shallow lagoon. Some of the research we've done in here has been really significant. We were one of the first places to show how increasing atmospheric CO2 and it's dissolving into the water, so it goes from high concentration to low, changes the chemistry. It actually, CO2 plus H2O becomes carbonic acid. That's why you see a pH reduction. You hear about ocean acidification. And then this carbonic acid reacts with the carbonate ion in the water column. This is things that corals need to pull in to create these calcite crystals. Well, it creates 2 bicarbonate molecules, and so it's in a form that's no longer readily uptakeable. And so we show that under future levels of CO2, you see a significant decrease in coral calcification rates. Now, this is an impact for reefs today, but more predominantly, what many ecologists or reef ecologists say is that the bleaching events that we see is primarily attributed to these very dramatic increases in coastal water temperature. So any of you have been in Florida recently, or about 2 years ago, it was widely publicized, but they had like a temperature of 104 degrees right on the coast of their water temperature. Okay, so that Florida's water temperature was 104 degrees about 2 years ago. Most corals cannot survive that. Maybe those in the Red Sea do pretty well. So there was a lady at the University of Hawaii. Her name is Ruth Gates. Unfortunately, she lost her battle with cancer. She was on our research advisory board and considered a really. But what she said is that if we sit on the sidelines and we do nothing, reefs as we know them will likely cease to exist by 2050. This was her opinion. But we can use bioengineering, assisted evolution, however you want to refer to it, to potentially facilitate, not maybe maintain all the biological diversity, but this 3-dimensional architecture that makes reefs so important. And we can use a place like Biosphere 2 to test ideas. So those things that you're first afraid to do in nature, you could do inside Biosphere 2. And again, we have fish in here, we have algae, you have a larger, more dynamic system. It is the world's largest research tank in the sense that we're willing to manipulate the conditions. So we can change CO2, we're going to change temperature. The reason this structure is over is we have reduced light level because of our latitude in the overhead structure. Corals get about 60% of their food through photosynthesis on average. And so we need to make sure we've got a uniform light level so that when we change the water temperature or we change the chemistry, we can say that it's because of that change in temperature or chemistry and not because the light level is changing seasonally.